the Mass Rider Capital worldwide headquarters in Lubbock, Texas, this is Heights of Victory, a program showcasing businesses and leaders from across the region. You can expect to hear stories of success with bouts of adversity and resilience, which when paired with hard work and a little West Texas grit, culminate in the heights of victory. Welcome to the Heights of Victory. I'm your host, Jeff Horn, the CEO of Mass Rider Capital. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, one of my partners here at Mass Rider Capital. She is our president, our chief operating officer. Brooke Hobgood is our special guest for this episode. I've been so excited to get Brooke on because there's a lot of questions I want to ask her, but she is an extremely accomplished woman, and really proud to have her on our team here at Mass Rider Capital. So, Brooke, welcome to the Heights of Victory.
Thanks for having me. Usually I'm just grabbing lunch from this room.
It's a studio today.
It's a studio. I like it.
As I said, Brooke wears many hats. She holds the titles of partner, our president, chief operating officer at MRC, but she's also a board certified anesthesiologist, owns a specialty compounding pharmacy known as Ivy, specialty compounding here in Lubbock. She's also involved in a lot of different areas, the Texas Lyceum, and serves as the chair of board of trustees for Lubbock Christian School and holds a seat on the board of Covenant Children's Hospital, just to name a few of her civic involvements. And so I guess my first question for you, Brooke, is, are people confused what you do every day?
Yes, I think so.
Are you confused?
Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing every day.
Yeah.
No, but I'm hopeful that this conversation maybe will clear some of that up.
Oh, we'll clear a lot of things up today. So no, but anyway, we appreciate you being willing to do this. I think this will be a little different than our normal guests that we have on, because when we get to the kind of the back half, we'll get to talk about something that I know we're both passionate about, Mass Rider Capital.
Yes,
good. So looking forward to that. But first, we got to talk about your background.
Okay.
And for those that don't know, you are the firstborn of MRC co-founder and partner, our partner, Dusty Womble.
Yes.
Would it be fair to say all the nuances of a firstborn apply to you?
Well, yes, I'm his firstborn. I'm also the firstborn grandchild on my mom's side and his side. So I think those stereotypes of firstborns, I saw a lot of that. There was a lot of responsibility as I'm the oldest of 6 kids. And so I do think there was a lot of pressure to excel, to do well, to follow the rules, to be the leader for the younger siblings. So I definitely felt a lot of that. And
as a co-firstborn, I'm also the firstborn in my family.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'm the oldest grandchild on both sides. I don't know if we never talked about that.
No, okay.
But there is pressure, and you probably feel the way I do, that like you had it the roughest.
Oh, 100%. The younger kids have no idea.
Yeah. Most of your childhood, your dad was still building his business, and very active in it.
Yes.
And so I'll start right there. What lessons did you take away from watching him in the day-to-day with that business? Yeah.
So he didn't sell Encode until my junior year of high school. So when I was a young child and then through elementary and high school, he was building that business. And I think, when you're a kid, you don't always pick up on everything that's going on. You really just see the reality that you're experiencing at home and what you're exposed to. But the things that I do remember were his work ethic and his grit. I mean, I remember he would bring home these huge books, like textbooks, and it would be because he had met with a client and he had sold a product that he didn't have. But
shocker.
Yeah. But he knew that he could do it, and he was willing to put in the work to deliver for that client. And I think watching him do that impressed a lot upon me. I see a lot of that in myself, the willingness and the desire to deliver an excellent product and to fulfill the promises that you've made to someone. And it's been neat to be on the other side as a professional and an adult and get to work with him and see that while he may not be putting in that day-to-day grind to deliver a product, his expectations are still there of us and of everyone that works here. You know, he wants to have a great product.
Yeah. I know your life is filled with volleyball and basketball and baseball and all those things. So what did a young Brooke Hobgood do, you know, growing up outside of school and as a little child?
Oh, well, I did gymnastics, played with my Cabbage Patch dolls.
Yeah.
I'm sure bossed my siblings around and kept things organized. So, you know, a lot of different things.
Yeah. You went to Lubbock Christian School.
I did.
Yes. A school system that you know, lead today as the head of the board of trustees. And what I'm curious, like, share some memories maybe that you have of the school then, and then we'll go to the second part here in just a second.
Yeah. So my husband and I both graduated from Lubbock Christian School in 1999. And I started in 3rd grade and went through 12th grade. My husband, Wes, he came over in middle school. And that was mostly because he wanted to play basketball. And he was at Friendship before then and didn't make the basketball team. And that was important to his dad. So they moved over. And you know, I think why Christian education is so important to both Wes and me and why our kids are there now is Wes said he came to Lubbock Christian. He met me, of course, which was very important, but he also met Jesus. And to be able to have that story and that testimony of an institution that prepared him for college, but also prepared him for what's truly important in life, we wanted that for our kids too.
Yeah. How is Lubbock Christian School to, you know, Welker went there. I mean, it's a school that we all support and love to support that school and their mission. How has it changed in the last 25 years and from your seat and what you see now? Man,
it's changed a lot. I think, you know, from a enrollment perspective, we have had year over year growth like we've never had before. Our facilities are amazing. We have just fantastic athletic and educational facilities like the school has not seen in years past. And I think the mission and the drive for excellence, not only in academics, but how our students behave outside of the classroom and how we're preparing them for the next level, whether that's going to college or developing a trade. I think we're at a really great place right now to be able to provide a Christian foundation for all aspects of life.
Yeah. The role of an educator. I mean, you think about today with, you know, increasing, you know, demands on, you know, how you're going to teach a child and, you know, with AI there and, you know, all of the different dynamic, all these kids have a story and different backgrounds it has got to be hard to be an educator.
Oh, yes. Yes, I can't imagine. And we have some amazing teachers at Lubbock Christian School that push us to be better, you know, push the administration, push the leadership. These are ways that we can be better. And there's so much opportunity now. I mean, even with AI and just what's happening in the educational landscape, there's a lot of opportunity to do a great job educating our students.
Yeah. So you go to Lubbock Christian School.
Yes.
And then, you know, before we talk a little bit about Pepperdine, and, you know, we're probably going to talk about your dad a lot here. I do want to ask a question because your mom's an amazing person. So talk a little bit about Leisha and what you think that your mother has done to influence your life and as a young child and, you know, where you're at today.
Oh, yeah. So I think she'd say that the Lord put her on this earth to raise kids. And I have 2 adopted siblings. There were 4 of us that are biological and then 2 that were adopted. And those siblings came into my family's life when I had left for college. And I think part of that was my family feeling like our job's not done raising kids and wanting to welcome more into the home. And my mom, she was a homemaker at heart. I mean, she loved us kids. If I needed a costume for anything, she was sewing it. If anything that I needed, she was making it for us. Now that art is lost on me. The sewing machine that she gave me is still in the box that it came in many years ago. But yeah, I mean, being a mother has always been so important to her and raising her kids well.
Yeah. And being married to Dusty, she's learned to tackle a lot.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. No, she's a great woman. So go to Lubbock Christian School. I'd like to hear a little bit how you ended up at Pepperdine, and then how you decided, what professional track that you would head down.
Sure. It was interesting. I actually was headed to Tech. I had a roommate. I had a dorm. I had a scholarship. And it was probably about 4 weeks before school started that I just decided I wanted something different. And it's a little off brand for me to go all the way across the country and not know anyone and go potluck on a roommate. But I just felt like I needed to do that, and I needed to get out of town. So went to Southern California and got my undergrad. Did it in just a little over 3 years. Dad was harping on me the whole time that I needed. It wasn't
just, here's the money. It was like, Ray, you need to hurry.
Oh, no. He was like, you need to get out of there because this is expensive and you need even more scholarships. And so I tried every semester to get more and more.
Not a bad place to go to school.
No, either. It was lovely. Yeah. Yes.
And then you decide on the medical track and decide to go to Baylor College of Medicine. How did you come to that decision?
I knew I wanted to be a physician since I was a little kid. I mean, I remember making IV bags and hooking them up to my stuffed animals. And I never really considered any other track in medicine. I don't know why. Maybe I felt like I wanted to be the boss, but I knew I was going to go to medical school. And Baylor College of Medicine offered me a scholarship. And so it was really hard to say no to that. And it's a really great medical school. And getting to live in Houston, I was able to see a variety of different disease processes and experiences. So it was really great for medical school. Yeah.
And then you kind of change at medical school to go from being a physician, decide to be an anesthesiologist. And walk us through that decision.
Yeah. So when I went to medical school, I thought I was going to be a pediatrician. I loved kids. I loved babysitting kids. And so in my mind, I mean, probably my personal statement even said that when I applied to medical school. I can't remember, but that was my passion. The wonderful thing about medical school is that in your last 2 years, you get the opportunity to try out different subspecialties. So you rotate through pediatrics or internal medicine or cardiology or surgery. And when I did my pediatric rotation, I realized that it was a lot of relationship. It was a lot of talking to the parents and the kids. And it wasn't just playing with kids because they were sick kids. And it was managing that. And I learned something about myself that I think I probably knew, and probably everyone now really identifies in me. But being in an operating room where there are processes and procedures and algorithms much better fit my personality than what pediatrics was going to be. Mm-hmm. And so once I was able to experience the operating room, I thought, oh, okay, this much more matches where I think I can excel. And so I thought for a period of time I was going to be a surgeon. At Baylor at the time, there were not a lot of female surgeons who I really considered a mentor that really were where I thought I wanted to be in 10 or 15 years. But on the anesthesia side, there were more women who I could kind of identify myself with. And I still, as an anesthesiologist, you still get to be in the operating room doing procedures, running algorithms. And so that just fit my personality a lot better.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. You're at medical school. Are you married yet? When did Wes become an official member of the family?
Yeah. So Wes and I, we didn't really date much in college. And then when I started medical school, we were dating, and that we did long distance. He was in Lubbock. So we did that for about 3 months. And then I said, you either need to move here or we're done. So he moved, and I actually was living with my brother that first year of medical school, which was nice. My brother was at Rice University. And so we were able to live together that first year, which was really good for me. And then Wes moved down, got a job. He was actually a teller at Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we got married after that first year of medical school.
Awesome. So then he was on the journey with you at that point.
He was. Right? And it was great. It was wonderful to be away from family, be in a big city, those first few years of marriage.
After 4 years of medical school, you were matched to a residency at Vanderbilt. I think this is where you wanted to go.
Yes.
What was that process like, and what did you learn from that matching experience?
Oh, man. the match for residency it can be so stressful. It's such an interesting process. So in your third year, toward the end of your third year of medical school, you start applying for residencies and whatever subspecialty you might want to be in. And then you get invited to interview, you travel, you interview, and then it's a ranking process. So I probably interviewed at maybe 12 or 13 places. And then you do a rank list of all the places you'd be willing to go. I don't know how many I ranked, maybe 9 or 10. And then the institutions do the same thing. And then it's just a computer that matches you. And so on match day, you have a bunch of medical students, already high anxiety medical students, overachievers, who get an envelope, and you open the envelope, and inside the envelope, it tells you where you're going to spend the next 3 to 5 years. It was not a process that worked super well for me.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yes, because I had everywhere from Baltimore, Southern California, Denver, Dallas, and then Nashville, which is where we wanted to be, which is where we ended up.
Yeah. So you end up in Nashville. What was that like personally and professionally?
It was great. Wes was going to work from home. It was kind of before work from home was really a thing. And I knew I was going to be working a lot of hours. And so we made a commitment that we didn't know anybody in Nashville, but we were going to get really involved in the community and the church. And that helped us a lot. Nashville back then was more of a small town. And we made some amazing friends that are still our friends today. But Nashville was a great place to be for a young married couple.
Yeah. It is so big now. I'm sure you've been back.
Yes.
I mean, it is unbelievable how big and thriving. There's over 2 million people. I mean, it is.
Yes. It almost hurts our heart what our first home that we bought there sold for just a few years ago.
I'm sure.
Tripled in value.
Yeah. So you finish up.
Yes.
You make the decision, I think, to move back to Lubbock.
Yes.
And you did what everybody told you to do, I think, on your first, I'm just playing.
Yeah, no.
You did what everybody said don't do.
Right.
And so walk us through your first position that you took.
Yeah. So toward the end of residency, we had one kid, we had a daughter, and I had actually matched again, a lot less stressful experience matching into a fellowship, which is training after residency, to do pediatric anesthesia. And then I found out I was pregnant with our second kid, and Wes and I just decided that we were ready to move back to Texas. So yes, I moved back. We joined a group. It was 4 gentlemen and me, just a small private practice group that covered cases at the Lubbock Heart Hospital and North Star Surgery Center. And it was a handshake. I had no contract, nothing. And my mentors at Vanderbilt, my colleagues, were like, "You are crazy. This is never going to work out. We can't believe you don't have a contract, a signing bonus, all these things." And, I just knew these West Texas boys were going to fulfill their commitment to me, and it was great.
Yeah. Was it, you'd been gone almost a decade, I guess over a decade.
Yes, about 12 years. Yes.
And then, Lubbock experienced a lot of change and still growing, but it had to be a little different coming back home for the first time after a decade. It was. And actually, Wes and I, we didn't have a place to live, so we lived with my sister for a period of time. So Wes and me and our daughter, and I was pregnant, and my sister were all living together until we were able to find a house. But it was good. I think the partners in my anesthesia group, I think they probably didn't know what they were getting themselves into, bringing on this young female anesthesiologist with these new ideas who told them how to use an ultrasound and that all their practices were antiquated. And I had all these great new ideas to make them better. But it was process
really
improvement, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So then you do that for a few years, and then you decide to join the Lubbock Plastic Surgery Center in 2015. And there you served as the medical director.
Yes.
For 8 years. And so what are some of the insights from there that you remember most? Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to help build Lubbock Plastic Surgery Center with Dr. Rob Schmidt and Dr. Clark Moody. And that was one of the greatest joys of my professional career, to be able to assist them in building that center, staffing the center, creating the policies, procedures, processes to help make us efficient, profitable. It was a great experience. I think one thing that I maybe didn't appreciate fully before moving over there, we just had one OR, and for an anesthesiologist who had been in practice, when you're in medical school, you're with a cohort of people. When you're in residency, you're with a cohort. Then when you go to private practice, even at North Star Surgery Center, I pretty much always had somebody around to help. There was another anesthesiologist or just someone around. Here at the Lubbock Plastic Surgery Center, we only had one OR. So I was the anesthesiologist. That was it. There was no help. There was no one who could show up in 10 to 15 seconds. And so it really helped mature me as a professional to make sure that the decisions that I was making for patient care were decisions that I could stand behind and I could handle any problem that came my way. So it was really, really good for me.
Yeah. And they've experienced robust growth over there. I mean, since their start.
Yes. And they still have a great team, great anesthesiologists.
Yeah. Every once in a while you get back in there.
I do. On occasion, they need me to help cover a case. So on my social media, when I'm in scrubs or in the operating room, it's usually because they've asked me to come over and cover a day. And then they probably are glad I leave.
Yeah. It's not you trying to put me or Dusty to sleep.
No. I've had to learn to have conversations without putting people to sleep. Yes.
At some point, towards the end of those 8 years, you decide to take another step in a new direction.
Yes.
You opened a compounding pharmacy here in Lubbock, Ivy Specialty Compounding. And tell our audience who may not be familiar with what a compounding pharmacy is and why you decided to open it and what all it does.
Yeah, so a compounding pharmacy fulfills a need for patients that commercial medications may not otherwise be able to fill. A compounded medication is something that is not commercially available, like Tylenol or Advil, that are made in a specific dose that works for the majority of individuals. So a compounded medication can combine medications. It could make it into a cream instead of a tab. A lot of what our pharmacy does is hormone replacement therapy that's specific for an individual patient. So, but I have a very entrepreneurial spirit, and I really enjoyed being at Lubbock Plastic Surgery Center, but I got to a point where I felt like that entrepreneurial drive was not being met. And an opportunity to start a compounding pharmacy came in as part of a discussion, and found a couple partners that it was going to work with. And, I felt like we could make money on it. We felt like it was a good investment and it could be profitable. And while there are a couple of other compounding pharmacies in Lubbock, it was our intention to deliver a really great product and customer service that was unmatched here in town. And so we built a clean room facility where you can compound literally any medication that needs to be injected into your body. And that company's done really well.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great story. You got a great team over there and got a great facility. What are some ways compounded medications are used? You talked about the hormone replacement therapy. What are some other commonly compounded, medications?
Yeah, we do pain creams. Sometimes it's to help with pain postoperatively after surgery. Sometimes it's to help prevent pain. Like if you're going to have hair waxed, you could use that cream. Of course, right now there's a lot of weight loss medications that are popular. Like the GLP-1s. So we make those right here in Lubbock in our facility. We send everything off for third-party testing. So everything is the concentration that we say it is, and it's pure. And so there's a lot of different needs that can be met through compounded medications.
Yeah. So I'm kind of picking up on a theme here. I didn't know this till now, but I didn't know that you almost went to Tech and 4 weeks before went to Pepperdine.
Yes.
And then 8 years into the Plastic Surgery Center, then you decide.
Are you wondering how many years I have left here?
Well, I'm starting to think about it, but for somebody that is, in my opinion, so scripted, so process oriented, you have realized that you need a little unscriptedness in your life. I guess that's a fair way to put that.
Yeah. Yes.
But
I feel like I need to be very careful here how I answer this.
Well, yeah, just kind of notice that. Because my next thing is you've started the pharmacy. That we've started Mass Rider Capital.
Yeah.
I know that you care deeply about your dad and your mother's legacy.
Yeah.
And as do I. And it's very important. And, you knew that we were building a company here at Mass Rider Capital, and we asked you to join, and you wanted to join.
Yeah.
And you have a major life changing decision here of you did all this time at medical school, and now
Right.
you're here. You are going to go, look at equity deals and debt deals and the business world. I mean, that's a big change.
Yeah, it is a big change. And it's funny because I feel like people do ask me that a lot. And sometimes people ask me, well, how did you know you could do it? And my answer is, I don't know. Like, there was never any second guessing that I couldn't do something that I put my mind to. And you're right. It is like every decade I kind of make this big change. Don't worry, I'm here to say. But, I think there's a lot of similarities between what we do at Mass Rider Capital and what I did in the operating room. When you're by yourself in an operating room and you have to assess a patient and the end game, where you want to go, and you figure out how you're going to get there. And then you're ready for curveballs that may come your way, but you're prepared for them. And I think at Mass Rider, when we're looking at deals, it's very similar. We look at an opportunity. We look at the pros and cons and the risks, and we have a good idea that, hey, we want an exit that makes money on the end. We know there's some curveballs that might come our way, but I think the process is really similar, just kind of that mental, even though the elements, of course, are very different. And
we'll talk a little bit here in a minute about, what we do at Mass Rider Capital and all those types of things. But I'm curious, you are this extremely knowledgeable physician, all this schooling on medicine and all that. And now you're in a world that you probably haven't spent a lot of time in, and all these new terms. And was that daunting? Were you anxious about that, or did it excite you to learn something?
Well, I think my
new?
hair is quite a bit thinner than it was maybe 4 years ago. It was exciting because I love to learn, and I really enjoy a challenge. And I think, I have maybe told you this before, but I did early on. I would sit in meetings and I just make lists of either acronyms that were said or words that were said that, like, I got to figure out what this is. And then I'd go look it up. And I remember telling Trey Thomason, our chief investment officer, one day, I was like, you guys are saying really big words for very easy to understand concepts. And he was like, well, it makes us sound really smart. I said, okay. So yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to learn and challenge yourself. And that's what I've enjoyed so much about this challenge here at Mass Rider.
I'm curious also, and I've heard some of your stories of when you're sitting in a big volleyball tournament or you're out watching a baseball game. We won't share those on air, tournaments that go on a long time.
Yes, forever.
But as your partner and somebody that works closely with you, and we evaluate opportunities, and there's transactions we really want to do. You're a really competitive person.
Yes. And
where does that drive come from?
Oh, man. Maybe it's part of being a firstborn. I think my drive for success has always been something that has just been innate in me. I think, similar to how Dad was going to deliver the product he said he was going to deliver for his clients. I think if I'm going to put my name on something or be behind something, I want it to be excellent, and I want to be proud. I think in the book of Colossians in the Bible, it even talks about, when you work at something, work at it with all your heart, as if you're working for the Lord and not man. And so I think, while of course I'm not good at doing that all the time, I think the thought behind wanting to be excellent in everything that we do is just something that's so important to me. Yeah. And I want to show that for my kids too, that it doesn't matter if you're cleaning the kitchen or starting a company, but you need to do it and you need to do it well.
Yeah. I think it's really neat. When we talk about Mass Rider Capital, one of the things that I use a lot is, we've all operated businesses.
Sure.
You've literally been in the operating room.
Yeah.
But you've also, as the chief medical director and figuring out, you have been a very active participant in the operations of companies and
Yes.
planning out processes and all of those types of things. Dusty with Encode and Tyler, and then some of the businesses that I've been involved in the past and in running those and managing those. I really believe with my whole heart, like that is one of the biggest things that separates Mashrider Capital from a lot of other investment firms or private equity firms or family offices, is that when we look at an investment, it isn't just looking at the investment through an investment lens. It is putting ourselves as the operator of that business and helping us to be a better investor because we have this operational experience.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you think about how does Mashrider Capital look at deals, right? Well, a lot of times we start with the financials. A deal comes to us, maybe we understand the basic concept and we say, yes, we like this. And then you look at the financials because the financials have to make sense, right? We're all here to make some money.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to, yes, what differentiates us from other potential investment firms that could put some money in an investment that financially looks good? Well, I think it's our ability to operate a company and our experience in operating companies, because we've done it before. And so we have a good idea of what might come our way that could trip us up because we've been tripped up by it before or we've seen it happen.
Yeah. That's as we get into it, we get a lot of calls, we get a lot of, interest in looking at an opportunity. I mean, one of the first things we do is we have a great team here with, Trey Thompson, who you mentioned a while ago, our chief investment officer, Autumn Zuzalik, who's one of our senior financial analysts on the investment side. But you're right. We dig into the financials. We start taking a hard look. I think the first thing, that we do prior to, receiving these opportunities is that we really focus on opportunities that are near us in the same business climate as we are. West Texas, maybe Eastern New Mexico, maybe Western Oklahoma, but somewhere within 500 to 1,000 miles. It's really important to all of us.
I think so. I think when you talk about affecting change or building a business, I mean, we want to do that in our community. We want to provide opportunities for our youth and our young professionals or our entrepreneurs that maybe just need help getting to that next level. But we'd much rather do that here in Lubbock than somewhere where we don't live.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we got into the business. I mean, Dusty and I were having a conversation in his kitchen and, we were tired of seeing businesses that were the first generation founder businesses, the founder was still leading the business and they would have to go off. Not that there's anything wrong with all these places, but they have to go to Dallas or Houston or New York to find a company to partner with. And there's a lot of great companies and we have a lot of great partners, but man, what a obvious situation is to be here in West Texas and know a lot of the people that they're dealing with and doing business with. And, it's been a blessing because West Texas has supported us so far. And,
I think so.
And I think we've helped businesses in this area.
Yes, I agree.
What are some of the common indicators that we look for in an investment to determine if it's right for MRC?
Well, I think first we want something that we understand and that there's some familiarity with or that we can easily understand. And then, of course, the financials have to make sense. But then I think it comes down to who are the people that are running the company? Are they going to be good partners to us? Do they share similar values? What do we think they're going to be able to handle when things get rough? Are they going to be good communicators? And I think if those three things are in alignment with us, then it's probably going to be a good opportunity.
Yeah. And this may stem from you injecting medicines into people that may kill them. But this is where you thrive, is the due diligence process and asking, hey, what can go wrong with this business? Because you can really dream up.
Maybe that's why, yes.
You can really dream up these scenarios.
Yes, lives aren't really on the line anymore, but yes, they used to be.
Yeah, it's a very important process. And you and I've worked on a lot of transactions. We've worked on some that didn't close. We've worked on a lot that that have closed. We've been involved in 7-8 month due diligence, type deals. We've been involved and we think we're headed for a 4 month and it ends up being 3 weeks. I mean, the process doesn't let you down.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
No. I agree.
How does MRC serve as a resource for entrepreneurs and business owners?
I mean, I think it goes back to a little bit of what we're talking about. I think entrepreneurs, business owners that are here in Lubbock, and they're from West Texas, a lot of times it's important to them that the business that they've built stays here, that their people are well taken care of. And when you do have to go to Dallas or New York or wherever to source an opportunity to take your company to the next level, a lot of times that requires a change in maybe values or processes that's just different than what you're used to here in West Texas. And I think we allow for the opportunity for those entrepreneurs to find capital and resources here in their hometown.
Yeah. And then I know the answer to this, but some of our viewers may not, but like what size of businesses are we going after and what industries, are we trying to tackle?
Well, we're very opportunistic. And so the industry doesn't always matter as long as the numbers make sense and the operators make sense for us. So that doesn't really matter quite as much. I mean, I think we like oil and gas. We're close to the Permian Basin, so we have investments there. We've invested in quick service restaurant. We have investment in the technology sector. We're always looking for opportunities in medicine because of my background. But, we really want companies that have a proven concept, have established revenue, and that we can help grow.
Yeah. And, you came on board right after we started and, we all talked about our vision and all those types of things. And I think we did the logo 15 times, we
yes.
Which, just so we could get it exactly right. But, we're almost 6 years in now. Well, I think we are 6 years in. What in your mind today, what is the long-term vision for MassRider Capital now that you've experienced it?
Yeah.
For over 5 years and we head for the next decade.
Yeah, I hope that MassRider Capital becomes the premier institution for entrepreneurs who are looking for assistance growing their company. And I also hope that we leave a legacy of community impact and involvement when it comes to educating our young professionals. I do think that a lot of times our young graduates, whether it's from undergrad or from getting a master's program, they like to go somewhere else to get experience. And I think that we can provide that level of experience here in Lubbock, Texas. And I hope that MassRider Capital ends up being the place where everyone looks for that.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I'm excited. I think we were both surprised to that point, of serving West Texas, serving the community, serving Texas Tech. We put out a intern process and all of that. Why don't you share some of the, the numbers and that whole process? I mean, it's a little bit overwhelming for a new company like us.
It was overwhelming. That I think we maybe had 50 or 60 applicants for a summer intern, and they were all amazing. I mean, it was really hard to choose. And we recognized that there is a need, that individuals in grad school or undergrad, there wasn't opportunity for them to stay here in Lubbock. And so many of them were having to move for the summer to get experience. And so we have identified that. And hopefully we'll be able to work with the Rawls College or even with LCU to have some of their students come here on a regular basis.
That's one of my big wishes is that, we have 16 people at MassRider Capital. So those positions don't change hands, often, but we've got a lot of portfolio companies. One of them, Seven Brew, where we, have over 5,000 employees.
Yes.
We've got Truno, where there's 500 employees. Anyway, we've got all these companies. So I do think that we're going to have ample opportunity for graduates in all disciplines, from both Texas Tech and LCU. And I hope that over time that we can continue to foster that and build and provide more opportunities. And because of the amount of applicants that we had for the summer intern position, which, by the way, shout out Chelsea Ramos. She won that, former
she's
Tech
been great.
women's golfer who's at the Chicago School of Business. She's here now and doing a fantastic job, but she won that contest. But we've talked about, adding a fall intern and maybe a spring intern as well because of
great.
that. Yeah, the demand. And so anyway, before we enter the Around the Horn segment, which is the most popular segment on the show here, I do want to ask you about your children because I know, being a family is super important to you.
Yeah.
Scarlett's in high school, Savannah middle school, Shepard is
he'll be in middle school now.
He's moving up from elementary school.
Yes.
They're all active in a lot of different things.
Yes.
Give us I've lived this life, but I am curious, because I know it takes a lot of energy, but talk a little about each one of them and what all they're involved in.
Oh yeah. My kids are great. They're lovely. I don't have a driver yet. So yes, we're very busy driving across town for volleyball lessons or cheer lessons or baseball. But no, being a mom and raising kids is just such a wonderful joy. And I love getting to know each of them. They have some similarities to Wes and me, but they're each individually different, which is a challenge as a parent when your kids have different interests and priorities than maybe you'd expected for them. But it's just lovely in their own right. And so it's a lot of fun to have kids. Our kids are at an age where they see us working hard. They hear our conversations. And I'm hopeful that what they take away from that is that if they want to go do something, be entrepreneurial, start a business, they can do it because they've seen their parents do it. Yeah.
Well, they're wonderful kids. It's fun to see them up here from time to time. I can't even begin to tell you the journey you're headed down here over the next 10. You're going to be tired.
I can tell you that. I believe it.
Tell you that. So, all right. Were you ready to go around the horn here?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to enter that segment. You haven't seen these questions at all. So
no.
I know that really scares you because we're going off script here, but all right. Where's your favorite vacation spot? Mountains or the beach?
Oh, the mountains for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I love the mountains.
Yeah. What is it about the mountains that you love?
I just love the peacefulness of it. I love being in nature, love going on hikes. The beach, you got to deal with the sand and then all the sunscreen, and we're very fair skinned. So it's a whole situation at the beach.
You're really smart. Where are we headed with AI?
I'm hopeful that AI makes us, this is right up my alley, way more efficient and able to accomplish even more. I think that AI is going to be really good for our society. And I think as long as we maintain a level of always checking AI's work, I think it's going to be good for us.
Okay. You moved over here 5 years ago from the medical world.
Yes.
I'm sure you had a lot of visualizations, things that you thought would happen. What's been the biggest surprise about moving to the business world?
I think what is a surprise, or maybe just a lesson that's learned over and over again, is that people are just people. And whether it's titles or companies that you're managing or running, at the end of the day, we're all just people looking to have relationships with other people and get along and be successful, and not to be intimidated by titles or names or histories.
Yeah. What is your favorite tech memory?
Man, there's a lot. I've been going to tech games since I was little.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. The Final Four was a lot of fun. That was also the weekend of my girls' birthdays. They had birthdays in April back to back. And so we had my kids. They did not go to the game. Those tickets were expensive. So they stayed at the hotel with the babysitter. But just that whole experience. And, for Dad, I remember when he would just be excited if we'd get a bid to the NIT tournament. And that would make his year. And so then to be man, in that championship game, it was just so wonderful to see the joy in his face and what he experienced.
That was awesome. It was like Lubbock had moved to Minneapolis for a whole week. Yeah. What is one change you would love to see in healthcare?
Oh, goodness. It would be amazing if people talk a lot about healthcare reform, and a lot of times I think it's more health insurance reform. I think the reimbursement process, the billing process, I think there's a lot of parts of that are broken, because I think there's a lot of individuals with interest for making money through that process. And I think if we could just start over and really get it back to a physician being able to provide care for a patient, I think things would be a lot better in healthcare.
Yeah. All right. We have a lot of processes at MRC. What's your favorite process that we have here at MRC?
Probably one I wrote.
Well, I think you've written all of them.
Oh, maybe
I don't think Dusty or Jeff have written any of these processes. So you're going to say all of them?
Yeah. Favorite process. I mean, the thing that's so good about MRC, which I think is what makes us maybe a little more attractive to an entrepreneur or somebody wanting to do business with us, is we are very flexible. And while we do follow rules and we're smart in what we do, and we do have processes, we also are able to recognize when maybe doing one step and then two step needs to be different, and we need to jump straight to step 3.
Yeah.
And so I think that flexibility and that push and pull a little bit is what makes this really good.
Yeah. That's awesome. What's the most off-script thing you've ever done?
Raft the Nile River and then eat some termites.
Wow. That's surprising.
Yes. Talk about feeling out of control.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, was this accidental that you ate the termites?
No, it was after we had rafted the Nile, and I just thought, well, I survived that, so this is the next thing to do.
All right. And then, are you afraid of needles?
No.
No. Never afraid of needles, or you got over that?
Yeah, no, not afraid of needles.
Okay.
No.
It is amazing how many people are afraid of needles, isn't it?
Oh, yes. People with tattoos are afraid of getting an IV. Yes, it is amazing.
Yeah. Brooke, thank you for this conversation.
Yeah,
I really appreciate
Thanks for having me.
You joining. Your journey is so inspiring, and I appreciate all that you've shared today. I mean, you really are an inspiration to a lot of people, but especially to women and mothers, all that you're able to accomplish and tackle on a day-to-day basis and be the mom that you are. Like I get to see it in a Master Rider Capital hat on every day, and tremendous partner, and really appreciate your time today.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. That wraps it up for this episode, and thank you for joining us. And as always, if you have a comment for the Heights of Victory, you can put that on our channel or email us with any feedback at heightsofvictory@massrider.com. We'll see you next time on the next episode of the Heights of Victory.